345 show, Shane Christopher Neal, all brought to you by Krown Rust Control, 4790 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls. Make sure you check them out, Krown Rust Control. So we don't have Rival Sons, we don't have O-Town, but we have Rival Town in the Giant TV Studio. Welcome, gentlemen.
How are you?
So all the way from Thunder Bay, Devin and Bryce, two original members of the band. So let's talk, as Ron McLean says on Hockey Night in Canada, we need a scene set. We need to know where you come from and kind of a little bit of the history behind Rival Town. So I'll start with you, Devin, and you can give us the background there.
Yeah, first of all, O-Town? I hadn't even thought of that band. What was their single? What was the big...
I do anything, or I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm going to Google it. You talk, I'm going to find it on my phone.
I remember that from when I was in like grade 7 or grade 8 at like school dances and stuff, and I'm like into my 30s now.
And the founder, the guy, the manager, he's in jail for a bunch of bad things.
Weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we started Rival Town in 2015 in Thunder Bay. None of us knew each other at the time when we started.
Well, nobody knows anybody in Thunder Bay.
Nobody knows. Except for, I guess, Bryce and Jared were brothers, so they kind of knew each other a little bit beforehand. But we started in 2015 up north, and we were a band in Thunder Bay for about 2 years before moving to St. Catharines. We were playing a lot of shows up there, and we'd come down here to tour, but it'd take 2 days to get down here, and it'd be a 15-hour drive to get down here.
Is there not a lot of places to play? Is that...
There's like one or two places to play in Thunder Bay?
That's not a lot.
No. When you play them enough times, it's like everybody's seen your show. It's like, who's going to go see the Rival Town show this month?
Yeah.
That's the problem, is we want to play a lot too, right? So I mean, when you're playing the same 3 venues every month, you start to see a lot of people showing up, but then you can only get so far in your hometown. So we said, all right, it's time to kind of take that to the next level and see if we can cut it outside of the city, right? So we moved down south and saying if we can start pulling people down south, then maybe there's something to this band.
Mm-hmm. So why did you start this band? What was the premise behind that? I mean, besides being famous rock stars.
Yeah.
I remember talking with Bryce right at the very beginning. I had just moved back I spent 7 or 8 years living in BC, and I had just moved back to Thunder Bay at the time, and we met doing a cover show. We did a cover set, Sum 41, and we just kind of got to chatting about like we're getting older and kind of trying to make one more real good serious go at doing this music thing and taking it on the road and doing everything right. And so it kind of just came to fruition from just, like, let's do this the proper way. Let's sit down, let's work really hard. Let's put the music together. Let's put everything together before we release anything. And let's just, try to make that one last go at really
one
being
last
a good
go.
band. Yeah.
So why Southern Ontario? Just more venues, better fan base for your type of music, and we're going to talk about your type of music, but what was the reason to come this way besides there wasn't a lot of in Thunder Bay?
Honestly, going out west was just, it seemed like just the same amount of driving. I mean, you're like 8 hours between major cities, so we looked at Southern Ontario and we said, well, rent is going to be around what we pay here. There's a city every hour, so I mean, when you have access to like 50 cities, you can play within 10 hours of each other. Right. It just made sense. Plus, being in St. Catharines, well, in the Niagara area, we're super close to the border. So when we wanted to start touring in the U.S., it's just hop across the border and go.
Yeah, we played Buffalo. We started a U.S. tour last May. We played Buffalo, and it's a 25-minute drive from our door to, it's closer to play Buffalo than it is to play Hamilton or Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
From where we are. So it's being close to like one of the biggest markets in Canada, really.
So let's talk about your music and your band. So when I listened to it, the first thing that came to mind was Blink-182, maybe Mariana's Trench a little bit, kind of. Yep. But so how do you describe your music?
Well, pop punk was kind of the heyday of the early 2000s, right? And then it's only in the past 5 or 6 years it's kind of started making a comeback. And we thought, yeah, all right, well, all the kids that grew up listening to it are now at the age where they are good enough to really play it. So we thought, let's try and hop on this train while it's hot right now. And luckily, there's a lot of bands coming out of Ontario especially that are just killing it in the game. So we said, well, this seems like a relevant genre again, and it's our favorite.
Let's join the game.
Yeah, let's get in the game, right? So we know enough of these people, and we know kind of what we're doing now, so we figured this might be the time to really try and make a go out of it.
You don't sound like O-Town, but I did find the song "All or Nothing."
Okay, yeah.
I knew Google would find that for me.
Yeah.
So when did you sign a record deal with an independent label out in New York? I know you don't have that now. We'll talk about that. But how long ago was that?
That was in 2015. That
16.
was it
2015. You're right.
Yeah,
The
no,
fall.
it was the first year that we were a band. We'd only been a band for 7 or 8 months at the time, and we were still firmly in Thunder Bay. We were thinking about moving, but we hadn't really talked too much about it yet. And we got approached by the label, which was Manic Cat Records.
And how did you get approached? Like, did they see you on YouTube? They see a show? Did somebody recommend them?
There was
we used to be a lot more active on Twitter, and we were seeing these guys posting a lot of bands that we were kind of into. So actually, I reached out to them and said, "Hey, what are you guys looking for?" And then
so
I
it's
sent
your
them,
fault.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, we had a good time with those guys, but we sent them our first EP. And then immediately they got in touch with us. I'm like, yeah, we want to get with you guys before anything starts blowing up. So then we just signed a deal with them for 2 years, I think our contract was.
So what is that like? So for people who watch this and don't know what it's like to sign a record deal or what it looks like today, can you give us an idea what that all kind of looks like?
Yeah, there's definitely a big difference between signing like with a major label and a smaller label. This is a very small, like mom and pop kind of family run label. So it was definitely a good opportunity for us. We went to New York and we shot one of our, I think we have 9 music videos now. We shot one of those in New York when we were on the deal. It was a good opportunity, but at the same time, when you're working with smaller labels, you're kind of limited to what you can do and where you can go. And we had some cross-border stuff. Like anytime we have to pay in American currency.
Right.
The dollar's not very good. So there were things like that, right? But overall, it was a really positive experience.
So it's not... Go ahead.
We learned a lot from being on a smaller independent label, I think, than what we would want from a big label. That's why we've been independent now for, I think, a year and a half or so. We're not looking to sign again until we know exactly what we're going to get from our deal and exactly what we want to push the band in the next direction. Those guys were a great... But they also, that's kind of how they sell themselves too. They're like, we're not trying to turn you into rock stars. We're trying to basically get you ready to be rock stars one day.
Right.
And they were great at kind of showing us the ropes of what to expect in the future now. So I think overall it was a positive experience.
So what about you guys have management?
Yeah. We do.
Yeah.
We're managed by Word is Bond, which is our manager's name is Eric Drogmuller. He's from Rochester, actually.
Yeah.
We a couple of our friend bands that have been doing really well lately actually work with him, and they said to us, "You guys got to get in touch with Word is Bond and see what they can do for you." We reached out to them, and they've been managing us now for just over a year, I think.
Yeah.
So what is the benefit to having a manager? He books your gigs. He negotiates your money, or
pushes us to now that we are looking at potentially going to bigger record labels. So he has the contacts that can bring our new music.
It's all stepping up the ladder.
The ladder as well. The American shows, the contacts for booking tours. Like last year, we played in Brooklyn, in New Jersey, in New Hampshire, all throughout New York. It was a lot of fun. That kind of stuff, and just trying to help us get. We've been incrementally moving up a step every year, and just trying to help us get a little bit further.
Well, I do this, for example, before I have my own television network that's going to be coming out in the next 10 years. So it's all baby steps.
Exactly. You got to start somewhere, right?
Just a reminder, this is brought to you by Krown Rust Control, 4790 Montrose Road. Speaking with Devin and Bryce from Rival Town. So in all of this chaos, you lose 2 members, I assume by their choice, but at any rate, you've got 2 new members now, correct? So what happened? And when I read your bio, it's about, you guys were heavily touring and getting a little bit bigger and doing more work. Is that the number one reason why that relationship ended? Or
honestly, we've been not a lot of bands can say they had the same 6 members since day one. So I mean, most bands you see swap out members every few months, right? We had all been the same guys since right from the very beginning, and we all moved down here together, and the workload just became a bit too much, right? We were like last summer, I think we were playing at least once a week. I mean, for a bit, we were touring a lot. This current singer we were working with it was just not really his grind anymore. He wasn't really looking to do this professionally.
Right.
And our bass player just got his dream job, so it couldn't make the two things.
And the bass player doesn't matter anyway. So.
Yeah, I know we can fill anybody in for that, right?
Yeah, Ethan will tell you that.
Look at Ethan's in and out. But no, and the worst part though is we had just started getting some real traction around the point when these guys were leaving. We had record labels.
That had to be
reach out stuff.
frustrating.
Yeah, we were kind of starting to get to that point where it's like, okay, this could maybe go to that next level here pretty soon. We had a lot of record labels reaching out. We were talking to some bigger names, and then all of a sudden, we kind of fizzle out by losing these two members. So but we wanted to make super sure that before we came back, we had the right guys, because we weren't just going to try and fill it in and hopefully maybe something good will happen. Luckily, the two guys that we found have kind of brought that energy back to our family that we were looking for. We weren't looking to just fill in a gap. We were looking to really
The right person.
Yeah, somebody who could take us.
Was it hard? We spoke about this before we started, but when you replace a singer, that's always probably the toughest. Like the drummer and guitar player, but your singer is the voice of the band, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you find someone that tried to sing similar? Were you looking for the same vocal quality, the type of person? Like, how did you decide this is the person that was going to be right for Rival Town?
Well, you got this one, you want me?
We can both do it. I'll go first.
Sure.
So I think it had to be like definitely like a right combination of personality and voice. And what I didn't want, and I don't think what anybody really wanted, was somebody to come in and try and do exactly what Carrie used to do. If we're going to get a new singer, we wanted something that was going to be different, and I wanted to definitely make sure that we were going to be moving forward, which is no knock on Carrie in any means. But if you're going to get, like I said, if you're going to get a new singer, you have to get somebody that's at least as good or better. And I really like Mike in the way that he sings, and he has his own style, and he's kind of taken a little bit of what was in the old songs, but he really, really has his own way of doing things. And I find that, like Bryce said, it's added a lot more energy to the whole thing. The band. It changed the entire sound for sure.
Right.
We don't sound quite like the old Rival Town, but it's not so dramatic that you'd be like, whoa, what is this?
Right. Do you want to?
Yeah, no, we definitely. With the new record we just recorded, we definitely sound like Rival Town, but we sound like the next natural progression for Rival Town, I think. We've added a little bit more heavy elements, but we've also dialed back on a lot of mellow stuff. And Mike is, he kind of walked into this project and knew exactly what he wanted from it, and that's what we wanted in a singer. We wanted someone that was going to come in and say, okay, I'm going to frontman this project, and I'm going to turn this into my vision.
Right.
And he was very confident about that when he came in, and I think that's added a lot of energy.
So A New Normal, he's on that song?
No, that's our old singer.
That's your old singer.
We have re-recorded that with Mike as well, just to add to the record.
Okay. And this new album EP is coming out this summer?
We're shooting for probably early summer, I think is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Right now we're looking at see if any labels maybe want to release it themselves. We're treading waters right now and just seeing what happens with that. But if not, we're likely pushing for early summer so we can tour it all summer.
Will you tour here this summer? Like, do you know any dates or not?
Yeah, we have a May tour. Basically, this is kind of our warm-up tour for the summer to get the new guys kind of ready. One thing about Rival Town is we do have a very high-energy live show. We kind of have a philosophy that we want no matter the size of the venue for you to feel like you just went to a concert, not just a show. We bring lights, smoke, cannons, all kinds of stuff that just make it like a very personal, holy, wow, look at this experience, right? So we want to make sure these guys are up to snuff before we start doing the bigger shows in the States.
We're bringing all that into the studio, so we're having lights and cannons.
It's going to be crazy.
Confetti bombs.
Yeah.
Machines.
All right, Devin and Bryce, Rival Town and social media, people can check you out how?
Yeah, we rivaltown.com, rivaltownband.com.
Rivaltownband.com.
Facebook.com/rivaltown, and you can look us up on Instagram. We're on there as well. We're on all the social medias, Spotify, Apple Music, all that fun stuff. You can find us.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to do part 2 coming up with the other guys in the band, so we'll see what they really have to say about you.
All right.
All right. Industry 45, Shane Christopher Neal. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.